Hi, this is Dodger and you're watching my show. So I have to show you this thing that I found. I've had it since I was a little kid and it's super weird. You know how I have the earrings that are made out of fox teeth? So I've had this since I was a kid and it is a flower made out of fox fur. I've been a weird child that loves foxes for a very long time, is what I'm trying to say. So now I display it proudly because I'm not ashamed of who I am. So for news, first thing, let's talk about the Oculus Rift just a smidgen, just a little bit. So John Carmack is the newly acquired Chief Technology Officer, and he was talking about how the headset will be for retail next year, which is exciting, but they're also going to be putting out a completely new dev kit before it launches retail. One of the big things about this is that they're talking about the Oculus Rift having Android inside of it. It'll ease the development process a little bit. It'll have a standalone chip inside of it, just like a mobile phone would. But it's interesting because no matter where you read about this, most of the comments are, wait a minute, the Oculus Rift is gonna be Android? I quit, I'm done. So I think that's kind of a sign that there's a misunderstanding here because yes, Android will be the operating system for the Oculus Rift. Essentially, they're not saying that the Oculus Rift can't plug into a PC or plug into a console. Obviously, they've been developing this so that it can be applied to many, many different things. So as a standalone, it does have Android inside of it, and yes, it will be able to communicate very well with other Android devices, obviously, but that's not saying that it can't communicate with anything else, or that they've just quit on developing it for anything else. It would be silly. I mean, they would alienate so many people, right? And so many people already have developed it and figured out how to utilize it with their games on multiple different platforms. Like, they're not gonna do that. They're not silly. They're not dummies. Many of you may have heard that Watch Dogs has been delayed. It was originally gonna come out in November. Now it's coming out in spring 2014. So this is not like a small push. This is like, you know, a pretty decently sized push. They want to unlock its full potential, which, you know, it just basically means we need more time. We need more time to make sure that this game is good. And while it originally was going to be a launch title for many different platforms, that's not happening anymore, obviously. I made it clear pretty often that I don't think that it's a bad thing necessarily when a company says, look, we need more time to make this game great, to make it exactly what we want it to be. I think that that's fantastic. But there's a lot of concern about bundles. Like, this was originally going to be a launch title, so there are all sorts of bundles with different platforms, and people are saying, well, I bought a bundle, I bought a Watch Dogs bundle, like, what's gonna happen to that? So what we know so far is if you bought the Watch Dog bundle from Amazon, they will be sending you the console on time. You will get it at the same time that you thought you would, but you won't get Watch Dogs until it's out. Like, the bundle will still apply, but, you know, separate from each other. And then if you bought it at GameStop, then they are giving you an option. They're saying, well, either do what Amazon is doing and you get the console and then you get Watch Dogs later, or you can trade it out for a completely different bundle. You can say, I don't want this bundle anymore because I wanted that game, so I want this bundle with Super Barbie Adventure 15. I don't know, I don't remember what the other bundles are. You know, obviously you have options, and if the Amazon one is just not good enough, you can always cancel it. It sucks, but it's not like the game is canceled. It's not like we're not getting the game. And as it is, just the concept of the game I find overwhelming, so I'm kind of like, alright, take your time. Figure it out, because I still need to develop as a person before I think I can even handle this game. Oh, speaking of hackers, oh my gosh, these just flowed. They flowed into each other so well, I'm so excited. Okay, so if you follow Mark Merrill, who is the president and co-founder of Riot, which makes League of Legends, if you follow him on Twitter, you probably saw a whole hullabaloo that happened last Sunday, like literally right after we made news last time, and I was like, no, it's so good, it's so silly. Somebody named Jason, in quotation marks, was like, yo, I hacked into Mark Merrill's Twitter. Let me tell you all the deets about a League of Legends card game that they don't want you to know about. The card game was going to be called Supremacy, and Jason was hacked in and put all sorts of information up about this card game. Basically like doing it as a call out. They don't want you to play this game. You see this game, they worked so hard on it, they did so much, and you're never gonna see it. It's not happening. Aren't you angry? Now, I'm sure there are plenty of people who saw all of this and were like, oh man, a League of Legends card game, that would've been so dope. I would've loved that so much. I love card games, they're the best. But as Mark Merrill said once he got control of his Twitter account again, they worked on so many different possibilities. There are so many different games and so many different ideas that went into a development process and will just never see the light of day, and I'm sure that's true of many companies. Maybe there was a League of Legends Cookin' Mama crossover. Anyway, it doesn't matter, let's move on. The point is that the guy who wound up doing this, I think in the end looked sort of scummy, because he's knocking a development process that occurs all the time, where companies say, man, this might be really cool, and they try it, they put honest effort into it, they see whether or not it'll work. And once they realize, you know what, this isn't really, I don't think that this is gonna work out. I don't think that that we have the ability to make this what we want it to be. And then it gets, you know, it gets shelved. It gets put on a shelf and they're like, maybe someday. But we don't see it, and that happens all the time. And it's healthy. It's healthy for a company to try to do those things. So to everybody who saw those tweets and was like, oh, I'm so angry, I can't believe we're not going to play this game. They might have realized that the game wasn't going to be good. They might have realized that this game couldn't have been everything that many other successful card games are able to be. So, patience. Patience, and take heart knowing that they didn't just pop out a card game. Like, here you go, here's a card game, we got you this, it's really good. Promise it's really good. For those of you who are big Mass Effectors, Mark Walters, who is the primary writer for Mass Effect, was asked about where the series is going. For some people it's like, it's not going anywhere. Did you see that ending? It's not going anywhere. Whatever, I don't even care anymore. I'm done with the Mass Effect world. Now the cool thing about Mass Effect is, like, as the head writer, the universe has been developed so much that you can do a lot with it. I'm sure that there are just so many ideas that have been thrown around that never really made it into a game that can now be kind of explored, and that's exciting. Now, Mr. Walters made it very clear that Shepard wouldn't be involved or even a part of, even mentioned in this new franchise of games in the Mass Effect world. And I think that we've all kind of assumed that it would be healthier to just do something completely new, to start from scratch. But what's interesting, and something that I never really thought of as being a problem, is he doesn't want it to feel like a spin-off. He wants it to feel like a Mass Effect game. He doesn't want people to look at it and say, oh, this is somehow associated with the other games. He just wants it to be very grounded in that world. And I can see how that would be difficult, because you write the same characters for so long, you get so attached to those same characters, and it would be very hard to just abandon all of them. You kind of have to in order for it to not feel like a spin-off. And I know that in, I can't remember which article it was, but he was saying that he doesn't necessarily feel like it needs to take place before or after the things that we've experienced in Mass Effect. And so it's almost feeling like, you know, we're going to utilize this universe, but we literally are discarding everything that's happened before. I don't know how that would go. I don't think that would go over very well. I think that because Mass Effect fans are so invested, even if they felt a little bit betrayed, they're so invested that they need something to ground them back into it. Like something that just feels like, oh, I know this, I remember this, I feel this, even if the characters are completely different, just something, right? Okay, this is a piece of news that I'm so excited about, and you can't make fun of me. You can make fun of me, it's fine. But oh my gosh, I'm so jazzed. So Cyan Inc., which is a company that made the Myst games, like Myst, Riven, all of those games that I just loved. I was so invested in the Myst world and everything that was going on in it. I loved the exploration and like, oh, it's just great. Now at our request and suggestion, they are kickstarting a new game called Obduction that they've been working on and kind of putting together. They've taken it to publishers. Publishers have said, this isn't really what we want, because it's very Myst-y, right? So instead of worrying about that, everyone was kind of like, look, Kickstarter is a thing, and just take it to Kickstarter and we will kickstart it, which I think is awesome, because those are the situations where I think Kickstarter is best used when it comes to the game industry. When people have gone to publishers and publishers have said, if you could change like 80% of this, because this isn't really what we want. We don't really want to be associated with this sort of a game. It's like, but we want that. We want that. Let us help you. Coming out mid to late 2015, so we do have a while to wait, but I strongly encourage you to go on the Kickstarter and watch the video because it looks so awesome. By the end of the video, I was like, I want this. I want this game so badly. I didn't realize how much I've missed like those sorts of games. Just environmental puzzles and exploration and being plopped into a world and having no idea what's going on and like not interacting with anybody really. Like that's just such an interesting concept to me, and it's what they do really, really well. So yes, I think that you should go do that. You should go do that now. They've also made it very clear, I almost forgot to say this, that it's not attached to Myst. It is a spiritual successor to the experience, which I like. I like that description. Anyway, let's move on. As a final bit of news, Blizzard All-Stars has been renamed to Blizzard Heroes of the Storm, or just Heroes of the Storm. I'm sure you guys remember back when it was called Blizzard Dota, and that started a whole hullabaloo, so whatever. It is a Dota style game or a MOBA style game where they have all of the StarCraft characters, Diablo characters, and Warcraft characters combined into one world. It's a big crossover, a big crossover game. They trademarked the application, so I'm pretty sure that this is set in stone. This name is set in stone this time. There's going to be a lot more information about it at BlizzCon in Anaheim. That's coming up very soon. And, okay, I'm wearing a Carbot t-shirt because Carbot did the teaser for this, which I think is so cool because, you know, Blizzard, for all their faults, they know when something's awesome, and they know when somebody really loves what they do. And Carbot has just made so many great little animations for Blizzard, and I think that it's cool that they reached out to him to be like, hey, do you want to be involved in this? Although, it caused a lot of confusion. Lots of people are not sure whether or not it's a legit trailer or teaser, so oops, but it's still adorable. I think you should watch it. Anywho, that is my show. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you want to have coffee with me, you can click wherever I put the annotation and it'll take you to my other channel. But otherwise, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys again next Saturday. Bye-bye. Mwah! Promise it's really good.